so that Democrats can say, see, he's not building a wall anymore. So, that should help us move in the right direction. You want the headline to be... Actually, under the way the law is written right now, technically it's not a wall. But if that's not evidence of the president's desire to try and resolve this, I don't know what is.
That was acting White House Chief of Staff Mike Mulvaney speaking exclusively to NBC's Chuck Todd about what the Trump administration is prepared to offer Democrats as a compromise to end the government shutdown. Joining me now, Jason Johnson, editor of The Root and an MSNBC contributor, and back with me, Shermichael Singleton and Alexi McHammond. Alexi, let me go to you first. How do you react to what Mr. Mulvaney is saying on Meet the Press in the morning?
You know, it seems like he's just trying to add more to the story than there really needs to be, talking about the differences in the types of the structure of the border wall. I mean, President Trump himself has now started calling it a wall or a barrier, and I think the choice of word of a barrier is interesting because it suggests a concession. But the reality here is that Congress is no closer to figuring this out again because Trump is digging his heels in and demanding a border wall and the wall that he sees fit and that only he agrees on. You know, Republican sources told us at Axios just last night and today that the one way that the shutdown could sort of, come to an end is if these 800,000 workers that we talked about at the start of the show stop getting paid, and that starts dominating local news coverage. There was an AP report of a woman who works for IRS customer service who, has the receipts for things she's bought recently in case she runs out of money and needs to turn these items back so that she can afford simple groceries and necessities. And I think if that starts coming and flooding the cable news coverage and local news coverage around the country, President Trump might start to reconsider this wall that he's demanding.
Jason, changing the name, not the budget, not what it is being erected for, even though many experts say it really will not affect much of anything. Changing the name, is that really a compromise to you?
You know, Rev, you can call it a slap, a tap, or a beatdown. I'm still getting punched in the face, right? Like, you can't change the words and change the impact on something. This wall that the president wants is a monument to white nationalism. Anybody who agrees to give any money to this wall is foolish. And by the way, as I have said all along, Donald Trump said that Mexico was going to pay for the wall. So unless he gets a check from Lopez Obrador, I don't see why Democrats have any reason to have a conversation with him.
So, Shermichael, what happened to Mexico paying for the wall? He said something about his new agreement replacing NAFTA. They will pay for it by and by. I mean, I grew up in Brownsville, Brooklyn. We used to buy clothes on layaway, but I've never heard of building a wall on layaway, and you've got to pay all the money up front until a layaway plan kicks in.
Well, look, Reverend Sharpton, I don't think anyone ever believed in the first place that Mexico would pay for this. But it's interesting, going to a point that Dr. Johnson just raised, the Strong Fence Act of 2006. There was a data that was released by Customs and Border from 2010 to 2015, I believe, that indicated of the 600-plus mile of fencing that was uprooted, it was essentially crossed or destroyed in some capacity over 9,000 times. It cost millions of dollars to the taxpayers to fix those breaches and to sustain this. So if the president is talking about a structure that is some kind of way different or taller or using different material, if that structure is going to be breached, then you can presume that the cost to maintain and repair is going to increase exponentially. So look, I don't think this is a real argument the president is making. I don't think the president is living in reality. All the data indicates that immigration, or illegal immigration rather, is down significantly. We do know for a fact that even the Cato Institute data suggests that immigration is good for this country, it's good for the economy. That is a libertarian, conservative-leaning organization. So when you look at all the data across the board, it does not back the president. The president is only doing this because he made a campaign promise, a promise that he is trying to keep, that I ultimately think he won't be able to deliver on.
All right, I'm going to have to leave it there. Thank you, Jason Johnson, Shermichael Singleton, and Alexi.